Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Groove podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back with the second episode of season 2, Foundation, A Glimpse of Darkness. This is a very new episode. So, right now IMDb is giving it a 7.2. And
Yeah,
I may be able to understand that. But what was really
yeah,
interesting is
yeah.
how they were going back and forth from these, like, sort of
Mhm,
sequences that we don't quite understand yet, but they still came
mhm.
back to like the really hardcore sci-fi of the show as well. Did you notice that?
Yeah, yeah. The stuff with Gail in the future,
Yeah.
future present tense or whatever. Because that's so okay. So the character that she's running from is like a huge deal in the books.
Yeah.
I do understand that. Like that's the main protagonist in the books. Like he's the enemy for the Foundation. That has got is named the Mule or something like that,
Yeah.
and he's super powerful, and he's got an army. Like it's a huge issue for the book. So like that's why that ended with that, so you can see like, oh shoot, like that's what's really going down there.
Hmm.
But I love the sci-fi elephants. Like I love space. Like this is I don't want to compare this to Game of Thrones in space, but like there's the palace intrigue going on,
Yes.
and that's exciting for me. I love
Hmm.
that stuff. Like the politics of it all. That's more interesting than the actual foundation part.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I know it's
Hmm.
not supposed to be the other way around, but I for me, everything about Day inside the palace is awesome. Like all that stuff is great. I love it.
Yeah.
And the
I
show
mean,
kind of just goes like
yeah. I mean, literally, there is palace intrigue. Literally, it's just like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the brothers are like crumbling. They're corrupt. They're trying to,
Mhm.
just manage the corruption, not really try to get rid of it. They really can't. And
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
just talking offline how the queen, man, the queen's
Mhm.
got some balls, huh?
Boy, she's bad disrespectful. Right? You're saying
She,
like do the thing, man.
I
Like let's
mean, like,
go.
listen,
Like
like they needs the deuces. He needs to throw the deuces up for a girl. Like, what did you say to me? Wham! That's for
yeah,
real,
like
man.
how but it shows you how desperate, like that's the whole point, is to show you how desperate they are
Hmm.
to maintain the empire, because like you're taking this disrespect and you're gonna wreck the whole system in place. Like you have to be really desperate. Something's going down here.
You can just tell how this corruption. I mean, they're a bit more free with like their thinking.
Oh
What
yeah,
they
it's
do.
clear. When they're having the dinner, they're doing their own thing. Like
Yeah,
they were more in unison at the beginning of the show. And
right.
they're
Uh-huh.
all
So and I think, they all of them knows that. They know that, hey, I
mhm,
have a bit more interest. There's a bit more interest to myself that I'm
mhm,
exploring, and I kind of like it. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with this whole,
mhm.
Day's going to marry the queen. They're going to have kids. That just seems really obscure to me. This is the Cleonic dynasty. Like, what's going on? You mean to tell me you don't have the technology, the wherewithal, the bandwidth to like try to fix this like corruption in your entire genetic dynasty?
Yeah, no,
What's up
I
with
don't
that?
understand that, because
Yeah.
is one of the Cleons, the original Cleons, still there, or they got rid of all of them? I don't understand that.
Well,
You can't grab the DNA from it, or
well they
if you open up the case, it can ruin it. Like,
they were saying that this has happened from the beginning. So it was
mhm.
like a complete sabotage from the beginning. So everyone's been corrupted. It just took a long time for it to, really come into
Yeah, to
place.
kick
I mean,
in.
yeah, this thing has
Yeah,
been going down for like centuries, basically, or decades or whatever, generations, just like, wow,
yeah.
it's crazy. This is
So
totally insane. But you know what? Your girl, the queen, man, she was like talking out her face. I was just like, when I saw that,
she's
I was
mad
like,
reckless.
what's going on, man? Like, you're clean. I was like, Dave, when are you gonna throw the deuces up on this woman? She's just straight disrespecting you. Like,
She's
really?
desperate. Like he has
Hmm.
to sit there and take it. That's how bad it is. But like, I have a question. Like, how many planets is in her control? Like, how important is she? Because like we gauge, we get the impression that she's super important, but they haven't shown us that she's super important yet.
Yeah,
So I'm kind of curious. Like, what's the how why is she so powerful that he has to go deal with this? He's
yeah.
he's taking all kind of L's with talking to her.
Right.
It's embarrassing.
Because they have not shown like the Dominion, her planet, and I want to just see how well
Mhm.
that's like developed. Is it like as developed as like Trantor or something like that? We don't
Mhm.
know. All we see is her face and her, just her people who came down with her. So I don't really
Yeah.
know what's going on, but
I
I would
mean,
like to see her planet.
it could be like an oil planet. That's why he's got to deal with
Exactly.
it.
Well, she did.
It's like June.
They did say, they get all of their colors from this planet. So this planet produces stuff for the
All
Empire.
right.
So maybe that's,
Okay.
I don't know.
So
Maybe they're
this
using them
trade.
for trade,
It's
like
trade.
like colors for
Yeah.
painting for art. That's kind of
So
weird.
so it's the oil planet just for the colors. It's the color
That's
oil
it.
planet.
It's like it's so crazy, man. What was really interesting, like so when Gail and
Mhm.
Salvor were trying to
Mhm.
get the beggar off the ocean, and
Mhm.
so she
Yeah.
was on top of the ship, right?
Mhm.
So once they got the avionics correct, they flew
Mhm.
out of the hurricane. It was something like a hurricane, and they were like above
Yeah.
the clouds, and
Yeah.
Salvor
Yeah.
was standing on top of the ship in space. How did that happen? What's going on? I mean, like, where's the
That was an
oxygen tank
oopsie
and
right there.
everything? Yeah,
That was
she's
an
just
oopsie.
standing up,
Unless the clouds are real low. If the clouds are low, then I guess. But yeah, that was like an eye that continuity or whatever. That wasn't good.
I mean, dude, it was almost like they flew into the eye of the hurricane because you saw the little sun, and I was just like, what? It's cold up there. What's going on? I mean, I don't know, man. That was a little weird, and then it
Yeah,
you
I don't
know
know. Like it's space, so we're gonna give some leeway. They weren't that high up.
yeah.
Their atmosphere wasn't that whatever low or whatever. I'm guessing,
Hmm.
but it looked cool, like being above the planet. Like it reminded me of the Matrix when Neo and Trinity flew over
Yeah,
all the
that was
destruction,
dope,
whatever. You can
wasn't
see
it?
the sky for the first
Hmm.
time.
Yeah,
That's what it reminded me of. But yeah, it was interesting. This storyline with Harry and making the second foundation, it's finally gonna start moving because it felt like it was dragging for a little bit. Like I just don't care about that. I know it's terrible, but like I'm just not. When they start second foundation, I'll be like, okay, let's go. But like right now, the storyline, them just talking in the spaceship, I don't care.
yeah.
I really don't care.
Well, the other thing is like you said, we're starting to find out why the
Mhm.
second foundation. The second foundation, like you said, it was just a counterweight, just like if something
Yeah, yeah.
happened, like if the empire, struck like the first foundation, then the second
Mhm.
foundation can come in. I guess they would have a lot more power, a lot more
Mhm.
technology. The second foundation would be more built up, whatever. And it's just
Yeah.
interesting to see how all of this is flowing and everything else. Now, but the other
Mhm.
thing is like, so they took us from like Empire, we went back to Terminus, we were on the beggar,
Mhm.
everything else. Gail was having these, sort of dreams and visions and everything else.
Yeah, yeah.
What's interesting is like when Harry finally was able to get out of the prime radiant, he was pissed off, man. He was
Yeah,
just
Harry
like,
was hot.
do you know I was
Start
conscious when I
slapping
was in
people.
this? Like I was like, whoa, this is like, I mean, imagine being in this cube knowing that you're in a cube, just like, I can't
Mhm.
get out. What's going on? It's just like,
Yeah, because it's basically like he's a real person because his entire consciousness is inside the thing. So
yeah. Mhm.
it's like he's there. It's kind of wild. But I don't know. Gail seems we're getting to the crying being extreme emotional kind of thing, which I don't like that. For a mathematician, I don't like that.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be logical, thinking whatever. And she's like panicky and screaming all the time. Like it's annoying.
You know what? That's such a good point because last week when I was watching the first episode,
Mhm.
you know, I started to kind of appreciate Gail and Salvor. They're both sort of pouty at times, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like Salvor's like logical. She's
Mhm.
more what Gail's supposed to be.
Yeah.
As a mathematician
Mhm.
who's a super genius.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like you wouldn't be like, oh, like you know what I'm saying. Like you'd be you you'd be focused and whatever, be thinking about the problem solving.
Yeah.
That's my opinion of my my
Mhm.
interpretation of what a math genius would be like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I distinctly remember just like thinking to myself, like, you know what? I'm not into the poutiness, the scream, and all that stuff
Yeah,
for any
yeah,
character,
yeah.
right?
I hate the
And I was
screaming, man.
like, and I said to myself, I was like, you know what? I think I may be okay with that, with her
Mhm,
and Salvor. I think I may be
mhm.
okay with that, but yeah, she has to really get it together. Sometimes it feels like she can be like very childish, very immature about stuff,
Yeah, but
like not
what I'm saying
thinking.
is that Salvor is more what a mathematician would be, like
Yeah.
logical and focused
Yeah,
on the
yeah, for
task
real.
at hand. And Gail is not. Gail is like,
Do you think that has anything to do with Gail knowing the future and Salvor knowing the past? What do you think?
I mean, that's possible. Sure,
Hmm.
that's possible. But even still, like, if you know the future as a mathematician, you're working the angles trying to figure out, what to do, what's the correct course of action, and she's still, she's yelling and screaming all the time, man. It's a
And the
lot.
other thing is, she does exactly what Harry does. Remember, she told Salvor, she was like, Harry, he's
Mhm,
never going to tell you everything. She does the same
mhm.
thing. She
Yeah,
does the
she's the
same
same
thing
thing.
to her daughter. Like she didn't tell her that, in her vision, she
Yeah,
was
she's gonna
dead in her
die.
vision. Yeah, it's just like
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
didn't say that until after the fact. It's just like you got to be upfront with this stuff. So I mean, there's a
Yeah,
lot of people hiding
but why
stuff in
was
this episode.
why withhold that though? I don't understand. Because you could have said, you basically told her 5 minutes later. So why withhold it in the first place?
Right.
It would have made sense if, like, that at the end of the season, she's like, "Yeah, I have something I got to tell you," but
Yeah.
she just told her 5 minutes later. Like, what
Hmm.
was the difference?
Yeah.
Why withhold it
It's very
for
interesting and
dramatic
very
effects? That's terrible writing right there.
so okay, they're on a beggar. Where are they
Mhm.
going? Because wherever they're going, like Harry was saying, it may take 150 years. They have to go back into cryo sleep or whatever to get to Terminus or whatever.
No,
What?
they're going to the new place for the next foundation. I think they're gonna make that there.
Yeah.
Wherever that
Okay.
planet is nearby.
Mhm.
I think. I gotta rewatch it again, but I think that was the plan, is to go to that planet because it's nearby.
Right. That
And
was the Dark Star, like from season one. So
yeah, yeah, they're supposed to go there in the first place. They kind of got derailed.
right.
So I think that's the plan.
Wow. Okay.
But I'm kind of interested how they're going to build the next foundation, because the other one, you had all these people and you had colony that was going to this planet, and it's, you said it, you implanted the foundation into that thing going on. What are you doing to the new foundation? Like, where are you going to get the people for the next foundation? How's that? Are you going to convert the people on the planet? Or is the planet barren? Where are these people coming from that have your vision and your plan? Like, that's the part I was kind of curious about. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of interested about how that's going to work out.
What's okay? So on Terminus, the new warden, because we're like
Oh, they got a
173
new warden
years,
because they're kind of screwed right
they got
now.
to get a new warden. you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so boy went to like the vault, got totally dissolved. I thought
That was
that like
weird.
that was totally weird. I don't know what that's about. There was some writing on the vault afterwards. I
Well,
couldn't
because
really
the vault
get it out.
turned into some crystal structure and then
Yeah,
turned into some black thing.
yeah,
And yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on right now.
yeah. This I thought that I didn't think Harry was going to walk out the vault. I thought Dave was going to walk out the vault. Like,
Like,
hello,
surprise.
everyone. You are not here anymore. I am throwing the deuces up at you. Just like, but
Take this L.
do you like the new day? Do you like the new day from last season? Do you like the new day?
Did New Day is he's cavalier, like he's having fun with this.
Yeah.
He's making rash decisions. Like, he's just going to flying off the handle.
Hmm.
It's interesting seeing how this thing's deteriorating, and they're like regular people now. Like before, like it was focused. They
Yeah.
seem like they were all together in unison, but now, like the Dawn is like talking about, I want to go traveling. Like,
Skiing.
what are
He
you
wants to
talking
go
about?
skiing,
What are you talking about? You gonna go
Really?
traveling, bro? You got stuff to do right now. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Well, it was interesting seeing that dynamic between them. Like, it seems like mentally they're all shifting and being random,
Hmm.
and they're not focused. Like, it was clear, like the way they filmed it, it was clear that they were focused and in unison. And now they have a coach to teach them how to lift things and
How to
talk at
get
the same time.
right, exactly. But is it me, or are they enjoying like this little corruption in the genetic code?
They're enjoying being different from each other.
I think they are, right? I mean, it's just like you can just tell, like, everyone, all
Mhm.
day, dawn, dusk, they all have these like little, snarky remarks, and they sort of
Yeah, yeah.
love going back and forth. I mean, it's kind of
Mhm.
cool and really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, especially because you had this one rigid way, and this is gonna be different now. Now the question is,
Mhm.
how bad is this corruption? Could they continue to just clone and just go on forward with it and not have everything fall apart, or they need to do this thing? Like that's the part I was kind of fascinated about because like seems like they're making the corruption be a huge deal, but like how divergent would it be if they just kept cloning and just going forward for the next 100 years, 200 years? Well, 100 years not a big deal. 1,000 years.
Well, that's a very interesting question because from last season, which they knew about
Hmm.
this, um,
Hmm.
that was Cleon the 13th, the 12th or 13th.
Hmm.
This season is Cleon the 17th. So this has been going on for like thus far as we know it, you know,
Yeah, it's like five
five
generations so far.
generations.
Yeah,
So
it's like off.
yeah. So, but and maybe it's getting worse every generation. But the what's kind of confusing to me is like, why why is it that they feel they need to have kids, marry someone and like have children? I don't get that. Like you said, just use the corrupt ones and just like try to use your
Yeah, like how
technology.
bad is
Yeah.
it with the corrupt ones?
Yeah, it's just like, because if he died, they would bring, the other one would come online, right? That's so
Yeah,
weird,
like
right?
they're there. They're getting their memories and everything. So
Yeah.
I yeah, I don't understand like how bad is this corruption? Is it mentally like they're gonna deteriorate and start being stupid?
Hmm.
Like what's gonna happen? You got dementia? Like what's gonna happen if you keep going down this line?
Yeah.
It seems because the thing is though, it seems like a huge deal because this is gonna end the dynasty as we know it. So for them to be like, we gotta do this, and the brothers are in unison about it, seems like this is a way bigger deal than we realize.
Yeah.
I kind of want to learn more. Like, is this in the books? Is this part of the whole storyline that they have to go do this? Like, I'm
Mm.
kind of curious. Is this the thing that
Mm.
is that destroys the empire? Is this thing here them deciding to have kids instead of keeping the cloning thing going on?
I would
Is
say,
that what destroys the empire?
listen, you know how like season one, how the book people were in an uproar. I would say read the comments.
Hmm.
We're gonna find out
Yeah,
everything about the comments. Like,
yeah,
this isn't what happened in the books. This is a travesty. Yada yada yada.
yeah,
What's going
yeah.
on? The world is ending.
I'm
you know.
yeah, I gotta go do some more research on this because I would like to see what's going on here. Like how different is the like what I'm saying? Like how wide is the chasm between the book and the TV show? Like
Yeah.
how big a deal is it? Is it like minor stuff that just change a couple people's names, or like it's a huge departure from the books
Yeah.
and it's only a name only?
And two things. The first one is like, if Day was assassinated, he said that
Hmm.
once they brought the new Day online, they would erase
Hmm.
the memory of the assassination and some other memories as well before they brought him online,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
if they can do that, why can't they fix the clones, as they come online?
So is maybe the first Cleon is messed up.
Yeah, the
Maybe
first
he's
Cleon
the corrupted
Cleon
one.
is messed
So
up. Hmm.
so if he's corrupted, then
Hmm.
I don't think that it doesn't matter at this point. So just maintain it then, or what is the we don't know what the actual corruption is.
Yeah.
Like if you keep going down this line for another 1,000 years, what's gonna happen to the Cleon?
Yeah,
Like,
it may get worse.
is he gonna be
Yeah.
slow? Is he, saying he got
you
mental
know.
deficiencies? Like, what's gonna happen that 1,000 years from now?
you know, just like the Cleons are like not as intelligent as they were like 18 generations ago. What happened? These
Yeah, but
guys can't read
because
or
the other thing
anything.
too, for giant empires like this, there's a whole bureaucracy underneath this thing keeping everything afloat.
Yeah.
So I would assume that if that was the case, like say the Cleons they're all just idiots. They just turn out to be morons. Wouldn't the bureaucracy step up and just run the empire by themselves, like everything else, like
Yeah.
every other country?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like
True.
America runs itself. Like
Hmm.
it doesn't matter who's president. It's
You know,
irrelevant who's president.
exactly. It's almost like, but going back to your point where, you said about the queen that,
Mm.
and I believe this as well. I think the queen, she knows something, right? And I
Oh yeah,
also and I
correct
also think
inside.
that Demoiselle knows something as well. It would not surprise me. It would not
Mm-hmm.
surprise me if
Mm-hmm.
Demoiselle was part of this whole scheme. It would not surprise me at all. At all, dude. What
Mm-hmm.
do you think about that?
I agree. That's the first person you gotta look at. She's like, I checked the brothers. They seem to be okay. What about you?
Yeah.
Who's checking you out?
The one person, like throughout this entire genetic dynasty, over the
Mm-hmm.
generations, the one thing that's been consistent is
It's
her.
her. Yeah.
That's it. It's her. She was there
Mm-hmm.
from the first. I mean, she was actually, betting with the first Cleon, right?
Yeah.
According
Yeah.
to,
That's what I'm saying.
Dusk, so it's just like, wow, okay. So yeah, this
Mm-hmm.
this is getting very interesting. What are you gonna rate this episode, man?
I give it a 7.5,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not because it was terrible. It's like it's setting you up for future things.
Yeah.
So like with the payoff for the future stuff is going to be more interesting than just because like there's a lot of dialogue and intrigue about the queen and
Mm-hmm.
what's going on in Foundation 2 whatever, but like
Excuse me.
when we get to Foundation 2 and the queen is actually part of the empire now, that's when things are going to heat up. And so like this is like setting you up for that stuff. Like I just want to get started. Like I always want to go.
Yeah.
I know it's important to set up, but like I just want to go, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this an 8. The
Mm.
when they were going to these like last the first episode, they were talking about the blind angels and the magicians, right? Now we know who the magicians are,
That was
right?
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was interesting with the blind angels and assassins were.
Right.
I want to know more about that.
Right. The blind angels, like really, The other thing
Mhm.
about this episode was, like I said, they went off, did the stuff with the magicians, but they always came back to the sci-fi part
Mhm.
of it. The entire episode, even though I'm giving it an 8, it looked
Mhm.
really beautiful in terms of just
Oh
production,
yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was a really good
100%.
looking episode, man. So
Mhm.
this is, what? This show, man, it's getting so interesting. I cannot wait until like the next episode, like when this thing comes on.
Mhm.
It's really fascinating to me, man. This is
Oh
this is a
yeah,
great
I love
show.
looking forward to it.
Hmm.
It's the world building. Like I'm anything on Trantor, I'm super interested in. I love the politics, the space politics. I
Hmm.
love all this stuff, and
Yeah,
even the like what's going on in the other planets. Like it all that stuff's fascinating to me. So like I'm excited about seeing what's going to happen in the next show
yeah.
for
How
sure.
many books is this? Foundation is what? 6 books?
I think it's 7 books.
7 books. Okay.
Yeah, but like there's like
Hmm.
I think 3 or 4 main books,
Hmm.
and then there's like prequels. There's a bunch of stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff going on in Foundation.
Wow. Okay. Very good, man. Well, there you
Mhm.
have it. Thanks for checking out another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.
All right.